Breaking news coming in the last couple of minutes as it's being reported that AEW star Sammy Guevara has been suspended by All Elite Wrestling after an injury was suffered by Jeff Hardy in their recent match on AEW television. We've got all of the details and reaction to that. Plus, John Cena talks meeting former AEW World Champion MJF during the premiere for the Iron Claw film and discusses the possibility of MJF one day jumping from AEW to WWE. We have the ratings for Saturday's pre-taped edition of AEW Collision on TNT. Will Ospreay reportedly receives big backstage praise after his AEW match against Konosuke Takeshita at Revolution this past weekend, and details on previous times that Paul Heyman has turned down the opportunity to go into the WWE Hall of Fame. Hey guys, welcome back to Wrestling News 365. Hope everyone is doing very well. As always, there are plenty of news stories to get into in the world of professional wrestling. Let's get straight into this breaking and developing news story regarding Sammy Guevara in All Elite Wrestling reportedly being suspended by the company, not for the first time during his AEW career. Now, an All Elite Wrestling star has faced a suspension, and as I mentioned, it wasn't their first. According to Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select has learned that All Elite Wrestling mainstay Sammy Guevara is now serving a suspension in connection to the February 14 match he had against Jeff Hardy. Now, of course, infamously, as was widely documented on the channel and also all over social media when this happened, during the match, Jeff Hardy sustained an injury and concussion protocol was not followed, which resulted in Sammy Guevara hitting his finisher on Hardy, which Fightful have been told shouldn't have happened. Now, Fightful say they haven't been given specifics on how long the suspension is or additional details regarding the nature of the suspension, etc., etc. Guevara did end up working a no disqualification match with Powerhouse Hobbs after the Hardy match. Now, reportedly, there is no timetable for Jeff Hardy's return either. Guevara has been suspended in the past by AEW, including for offensive comments made prior to his AEW run, and had some time off in conjunction with a fight with Andrade, though Fightful haven't been told whether that was a formal suspension or kind of just a calling off situation there. Now, Fightful say they've reached out to Sammy Guevara for comment, which wasn't immediately returned. So what do you make of this story? Do you think it's harsh by AEW? Do you think it's the right decision? Are they laying down the law and making sure they're firm with talent when it comes to something serious like concussion protocol? What's your reaction to it? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And again, if we get any more information on this story moving forward, of course, we'll let you know in a future video. Now, let's talk about John Cena discussing his meeting with former AEW World Champion MJF. Now, John Cena has revealed his interaction with AEW's MJF at the Iron Claw premiere that took place in December of last year. MJF had previously reflected on their meeting, stating that they had exchanged pleasantries and discussed their respect for each other's body of work. Cena has now revealed further details on meeting MJF during the recent Insight with Chris Van Vliet, saying, quote, "So the whole totality of the thing is I knew he was going to be there. I don't think the old me would have associated with him just because of how WWE I was. I still am WWE, but there is room for competition, and competition is great. And just because you don't wear the company brand I have doesn't mean you're a bad performer." Discussing MJF and his achievements in AEW in particular, Cena went on to state, quote, "Sports entertainment is a finicky business. And again, there's a lot of chances to make moments. This is one of their top performers in AEW, and I don't know if I'm going to be the target of a moment. I'm just going to support my friend in a movie. He couldn't have been nicer. He couldn't have been more cordial. We met each other and I got pulled away to take some pictures, and then we were about to go do everything else before I even got to you, and I was like, hold on, give me 2 minutes. I shook his hand. I said, man, I'm so sorry. Excuse my ignorance. I didn't know what to expect from you today. You're a class act. I can't believe you're as professional as you are. That's just my ignorance. I'm sorry I had that judgment. I want to thank you for being so special. Thanks for making my night." Then we got back and I was able to talk to him more and kind of was like, maybe we can get you to play for the right team one day and all that. There's no denying the fact that he's doing good work, and I don't think that I should ignore that. Honestly, I was floored by his professionalism. where it would have been an easy target at a wrestling movie premiere to have yourself a moment. And we did have a moment, and it was one that the internet paid attention to. It was one where I was hoping that this person that I met, I could once bet on, like, man, oh, we just get you over here. That'd be awesome. But it was great. It was great to meet a professional, classy, driven young man. Now, MJF has been absent from AEW television since the World's End pay-per-view on December 30 and recently wrapped up shooting on another movie project. It had been previously reported that he was working through a number of injuries, with January 1st, 2024 marking the end of MJF's previous AEW contract. There was speculation that he could be headed to WWE. But in December of last year, it was reported that all the talk of MJF not re-signing with AEW was seen as storyline internally by WWE. It was also stated that the belief was that MJF had signed a new contract, quote, as far back as his return back at AEW All Out in 2022. But certainly, strong comments by John Cena. Could you see one day MJF being in WWE? Let me know your thoughts about that in the comment section below. Now, it was a big weekend for AEW with AEW Revolution, headlined by the retirement of professional wrestling icon Sting. That was on Sunday night. But what about the night prior? What about Saturday Night Collision? Now, it wasn't live, it was pre-taped this week, but how did it fare in the ratings? Well, before fans in Greensboro, North Carolina got the chance to witness Revolution 2024 on pay-per-view, AEW had one more stop on the road to Revolution in the form of the March 2nd, 2024 AEW Collision. The question is, how many people tuned in? According to WrestleNomics, the March 2nd Collision averaged a total of 455,000 viewers, which is a big increase of 18% compared to the February 24 edition of the show that averaged 355,000 viewers. The show's viewership stayed largely consistent throughout the 2-hour time slot. In fact, we can see these quarter-hour ratings courtesy of WrestleNomics. Shout out to them. Be sure to subscribe to their Patreon. You can see the quarter-hour ratings right there on the screen. Now, as I mentioned, the show's viewership stayed largely consistent throughout the 2-hour time slot, beginning with 498,000 at 8 p.m. before gradually dropping to 420,000 viewers by the end of the evening. When it comes to the key 18 to 49 demographic, Collision saw another increase. The March 2nd episode averaged a 0.13 number, marking another 18% increase on the previous episode, which garnered a 0.11 number. While Collision did have competition on other networks in the form of NBA and college basketball games, the show benefited from not having a UFC card air on television, as the company's most recent fight night streamed on ESPN+. Fans who tuned in for the entire episode saw a host of action that got people excited for Revolution. Matches like the All-Star 8-man tag team match that saw Orange Cassidy, Trent Beretta, Daniel Garcia at Hook take on Christian Cage, Killshot, Brian Cage, and Roderick Strong, as well as the three-way match between Dante Martin, Penta El Zero Miedo, and Brian Keefe tied in for what was going to come at AEW Revolution the nights after. Matches that featured Thunder Rosa and Mariah May, as well as the segment that saw Mark Briscoe try and set Buddy Matthews on fire, got people excited for what was to come 24 hours later. What do you make of these numbers for AEW Collision? Is it better than you expected, considering it was pre-taped? Is this good news for AEW as they head into the spring? Could we see ratings rise for Collision as well? Now, Will Ospreay made his AEW singles in-ring debut, certainly officially as an All Elite Wrestling contracted talent this past weekend at Revolution, and he earned rave reviews from fans watching inside the arena and also on social media, but reportedly also he received praise from people backstage within All Elite Wrestling. While Sting's retirement match was the focal point of the March 3rd pay-per-view, another match which got people talking was Will Ospreay's first bout as an official member of the AEW roster. Ospreay scored a huge victory over Don Callis family member Konosuke Takeshita in an impressive match after 22 minutes of action. Per Dave Meltzer in a Wrestling Observer Daily Update, many of the stars from the past in the audience for Sting's final match were very impressed by the Ospreay versus Takeshita bout, with it noted they couldn't believe how good Ospreay was. Meltzer wrote the following, quote, "Another big thing noted to us was the reaction of the stars from the past to Will Ospreay and the match with Konosuke Takeshita. Many people there who had been in the business for decades had never seen an Ospreay match, although had heard of him. It was noted they couldn't believe how good he was. Now, a number of wrestling legends were shown in the crowd during AEW Revolution on the live broadcast, including Lex Luger, Magnum TA, and Nikita Koloff. When it comes to Ospreay's next match, it's going to be taking place this Wednesday on AEW Dynamite against Kyle Fletcher. Of course, they were teammates as part of United Empire in New Japan Pro Wrestling. Now, another big story this week, of course, has been the induction or the announcement that Paul Heyman is going to be inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame class of 2024. But reportedly, it's not the first time WWE has tried to induct the former promoter of Extreme Championship Wrestling. Paul Heyman is the first inductee into the Hall of Fame class of 2024, but has turned down the offer previously. The announcement of Heyman being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame was made on March 4, 2024. During Wrestling Observer Radio, Dave Meltzer gave his insight into the inclusion of Heyman and past rejection, saying, quote, "This will be the first Hall of Fame class that was chosen by Paul Levesque and not chosen by Vince McMahon. So Paul Heyman is the first Paul Levesque Hall of Famer, so that's an interesting part of it. He's been offered the Hall of Fame before and turned it down with the idea that he's still active. He didn't think he should be in the Hall of Fame until his career's over. But I think the idea of it being the first Paul Levesque inductee, and it's in Philadelphia where ECW was from, and one of his main career claims to fame was ECW, maybe his biggest in some ways, so there's that. Maybe they just needed a main eventer and he's the guy, but he's been offered this before and said no. So Paul Heyman finally saying that yes, this year. The question is, who do you think is going to induct him? Let me know your thoughts about that as well. Now, also, because of this announcement, he's going to be going into the Hall of Fame. He's been doing quite a lot of press, has Paul Heyman, and he spoke about how much creative control and input he has in the Bloodline saga that we've seen since Roman Reigns' heel turn all the way back in August 2020. Of course, Paul Heyman is the special counsel to the tribal chief, the wise man, if you will. And speaking to the New York Post, Heyman noted that he does have significant control over how the Bloodline segments are produced. He said, quote, "I carry a significant voice in how we are portrayed and presented. That includes everything from camera angles to music to storylines. It's why Roman Reigns bestowed upon me the blessing name of the Wise Man, which is both acknowledgement from the tribal chief to his special counsel and also a historical reference to the Grand Wizard, Freddie Blassie, and Captain Lou Albano, who are the only managers during the Vincent James McMahon, father of Vince McMahon era. I don't know if I could only be a performer. I wouldn't be satisfied. I wouldn't be happy with just going out there and doing our shtick. I have to have a voice. I have to have some level of input. And so far, as luck would have it, that input has not only been welcomed, but encouraged and very well received." So Heyman's saying he does have a very significant input when it comes to all things involving the Bloodline. But there you go, guys. This latest pro wrestling news for you. Be sure to smash a like on the like button. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner. As always, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, and I'll speak for you again very, very soon.
Hey guys, thank you for watching, listening, streaming, or however you come across this video today. Be sure to click on the video on the right there to watch our next video, or click the bottom there to subscribe, or the bottom right hand corner. Thank you very much, and I'll speak to you again very soon.